Further discuss this now with Omer Ozkizilcik. He joins me live from the Turkish capital, Ankara. He is a security analyst and non-resident fellow at the Atlantic Council. Thank you so much for being with me on the program. I want to approach the angle that Erdoğan took on the regulation of technology and AI in light of the pager attacks that we saw happen in Lebanon. He said that we need to take a serious approach in regulating technology. Let me get your thoughts.
I think the biggest remarkable definition he used was that he labeled this as a terrorist act, which is quite interesting because it underlines the Turkish president's approach that these attacks were not legitimate military attacks, but more as a random attack, which actually it was. So even though these pages were used by Hezbollah militants, you cannot make sure who has it in their hands at the moment. Is it a child or is it a Hezbollah militant? So therefore, this approach by the Turkish president that there needs to be regulations, it's quite important as well. The similar statement was also made by the American president. AI, artificial intelligence, and new upcoming technologies pose a new security threat. And we have seen in the case of Hezbollah and Israel how this new technology can be used for a massive attack. So in the coming period, in the coming years with technological advance, more deadly attack could be possible in the future. So therefore, it's now the time to speak about and think about potential ways to regulate these and to ensure that more secure systems are in place, because it was Israel against Hezbollah. But what happens if a terrorist organization gets the same technology, can use the same technology to target basically civilians across a mass? And how can this be prevented? So we have here seen that this was a state power towards a specific target, but this shows that in the future, these kind of attacks can happen more frequently and done by actors with less quality than a state.
Right, and the war in Ukraine, of course, high on many leaders' agenda as they convene in that UNGA. Erdoğan, if I may quote him on the war in Ukraine, he said, "We are still far from establishing peace. As the arms race accelerates, the space for diplomacy is shrinking." And I think that sentence is key, that the space for diplomacy is shrinking, given that Turkey has played a very, very significant role in mediating this conflict between the two sides.
So we have to remind ourselves what Turkey has done and how it was prevented. So Turkey was actually very close to facilitating a deal between Russia and Ukraine to stop the war and the killing of so many people. But unfortunately, the mentality that this war can be won by Ukraine or by Russia, which both cannot, has led to the current situation in which we are now. So, and we see that the continuous approach is to send more weapons to Ukraine, and Russia is going up. Russia is calling more people to the service and is increasing the manpower to attack Ukraine and invade Ukraine. And this arm race is continuing. And unfortunately, I think there are also many industries and many companies who also make huge profit out of this conflict. So all of these together is actually showing that both sides, neither Ukraine nor Russia, has reached the point in which they are willing to negotiate for a real peace, as they think they can achieve more military gains. However, what they oversee is with each day passing, the costs for military gains is increasing as both sides are ramping up their investment and their procurement of weapons and their usage of soldiers in terms of quantity. And the costs are accelerating to an unlimited area. And if this continues, we will see that Russia and Ukraine will inflict on each other so huge damage that this war will bleed out. So the Turkish president is saying, let's speak about peace and let's not engage in a race in which both sides will only increase their mutual costs without achieving any military gains any real military gains on the ground.
Security analyst Omer Ozkizilcik, I appreciate your analysis. Thank you for your time.